Good morning, Beacon. Good morning. So good to see your face in the place. Wonderful to be here. I am Reverend J. My pronouns are they and them. That is J as in protege, that last sound, okay? I'm a friend indeed. And I am average height, Black American. I'm giving yellow today with some kente. And it's just, you know, the vibe right now is to just to produce as much light as possible in the world, if I may. I want to offer you this quick welcome. The welcome that I want to offer you is something that you're probably already familiar with, but I just hope that it resonates with you. I don't normally write down my welcomes. I kind of just go off the cusp. Y'all kind of know that by now. But I just want to offer you this. Come gather round wherever you roam, and admit that the waters around you have grown. Come writers and critics who prophesy with your pen, and keep your eyes wide, the chance won't come again. Come senators and congressmen, please heed the call. Don't stand in the doorways, don't block the halls. Come mothers and fathers throughout the land, and don't criticize what you can't understand. Your sons and daughters are beyond your command. Please get out of the new one if you can't lend your hand. For the times, they are a-changing. I welcome you into the time that has changed for us. Welcome to the Congregated Hour. I'm so glad to have you here with us today. And I want you to just take an opportunity to greet somebody if you have not, for a few seconds. Let's just do a 30-second quick over. Hey, how you doing? Good to see your face in the place. You good? Okay. And now that you have passed your light over to somebody else, we are going to get prepared to light the chalice. Thank you so much.
Good morning, Beacon. My name is Rachel Radzewski. Pronouns are she, her. I am a 40-something white woman with shoulder-length brown hair. I'm wearing sort of a tan blazerish type of thing and very big glasses. So before, we had one announcement that we need to share. Afterwards of the service today, the Beacon Hope and Equity panel discussion is going to be downstairs in the fellowship hall at 12:30, and there will be pizza and salad, so please come and join us for that. Also, I would love to ask for a volunteer to light our chalice today. We need someone who knows how to use fire and come up and light our chalice. Who can come? Please, yes, thank you.
Thank you, Dee.
Thank you. As we speak on one of the Beacon core values on transformation. Transformation is a core value of the Unitarian Universalist Association, or UUA. It's a value that reflects the UUA's openness to change and the idea that people can grow spiritually and ethically together. True transformation means envisioning and then strategically moving ahead into an improved version of yourself. Transformation will take commitment and conscious effort, creating a sense of common purpose and defined goals. We celebrate their differences and commonalities with respect, curiosity, and love. They covenant to learn from each other in their search for meaning and truth. They support civil liberties and the separation of church and state.
Good morning. My name is Misa Iwama, and I'm the Director of Music Ministry, and I am happy to be here with you today. And I'm happy to be here also with Vicki Carter. Thanks for playing, Vicki. We're going to start this morning with Building a New Way. That's in the Teal Hymnal, and it's 1017. So I invite you to rise in body or in spirit as we sing this song together. We are building a new way. We are building a new way. We are building a new way, feeling stronger every day. We are building a new way. We are working to be free. We are working to be free. We are working to be free of hate and greed and jealousy. We are working to be free. We can feed our every need. We can feed our every need. We can feed our every need. Start with love, that is the seed. We can feed our every need. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Without these, the world will die. Peace and freedom is our cry.
I want to take a moment before we go into the reading to just have a disclaimer for those of you in the space as well as online. This reading that Rachel is going to offer, I particularly wanted to just set it up to be very clear that the text is about a black woman. And Rachel is reading this particular story and framing. But I find it to be very appropriate for Rachel to read this writing on the account that I do believe that all people, especially white folk, have the opportunity to be prophetic witnesses who are in solidarity with the acts of black life and black experience. I thank you, Rachel, for being the person to do this for me.
Lovecraft Country is a horror drama TV series and novel about a journey across 1950s Jim Crow America. The story follows Atticus Freeman, a Korean War veteran, as he searches for his missing father with his friend Letitia and his uncle George. The series explores racism and the experience of being black in America, and also features monsters inspired by H.P. Lovecraft. In this particular episode, called I Am, we see a black woman, Hippolyta, go through the multiverse. Hippolyta arrives, descending meteorically onto what appears to be a planet somewhere in space. Is she in the future? Is that some kind of extraterrestrial ship? Before she can figure it out, two beings, looking both robotic and alien, approach her. She wakes up in a white room, nude and with purple implants in the beds of her wrists. She's greeted by a tall black being with a large-shaped afro who speaks in code, repeating iterations of, "You are not in a prison. Where do you want to be?" and "Name yourself." It's enjoyable to watch Hippolyta's mind work as she begins to understand her surroundings and realize this is a place of possibility, but she still doesn't quite understand the power she's about to wield. Serafina nudges her again. Who does she want to be? Pressured, she comes up with the quickest idea of freedom she can muster in the moment. I want to be dancing on a stage in Paris with Josephine Baker. And surely she is taken there, right onto the stage, in a white feathered getup, mid-dance number. She spends what seems like months there loosening up thanks to the advice from Josephine Baker herself, partaking in the fun.
Good morning, Beacon. My name is Sally Raymond. I identify with the pronouns she, her. I'm a white woman who, as of a month ago, has the identity of a senior citizen. And I'm wearing a kind of a bluebird blue sweater with black in a web kind of wild pattern. I'm wearing the blue to surround myself with a little bit of hope. And I'm wearing the Beacon Chaplain stool. And as a Beacon Chaplain, we're committed to empowering each of us to create a community of care. And we want this community to be one that actively supports and protects the inherent worth and dignity of all of us. And in the midst of fear, misunderstanding, and misrepresentation, we as chaplains really want to encourage us all to listen with compassion. And we want to help spark in all of us the ability to be able to both offer and receive acceptance and care. And one of the rituals we as chaplains lead is our community candlelighting. And this is our opportunity on Sundays to come together and light and recognize all of our joys, sorrows, and express gratitude together. This morning, we light a candle of healing energy for Mia Morse as she recovers from recent surgery. And we light a candle for Colleen Mannion's speedy and healthy recovery from surgery. We light a candle of condolence for Dan Yanez's father, Julian Yanez, who recently transitioned into ancestorship last week. We light a candle of sorrow for the recent aviation accidents in DC, Pennsylvania, and California, including the 67 lives lost in an aircraft collision in Washington, D.C., and the 7 lives lost in the medical transport plane crash in Philadelphia. And we light a candle of sympathy for their grieving families and communities. We light a candle of sorrow and solidarity for the thousands of immigrants and people seeking asylum in this country who are living in fear of their homes being raided and their deportation. We light a candle for ethical guidance and discernment as diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives are removed from various organizations. And importantly, in this vein, we light a candle for the start of Black History Month, recognizing the critical importance of intentional remembrance of our collective history, especially in light of the current assaults on wokeness and DEI. We light a candle of love and support for those who are overwhelmed and anxious, like me, by the continuous political news and executive orders. And together, Beacon, we light a candle for hope, courage, and compassion as we, the members and friends of Beacon, create a community of care within our congregation and beyond. For this and so much more, we invite you now to come forward to light a candle in our sanctuary to honor what is close to you in your heart and mind. And if you are joining us virtually, please light a candle in your home or wherever you may find yourself today.
Oops, take your time. Good morning.
This song is called A Beautiful Noise, and it was written by Alicia Keys and Brandy Carlisle. I have a voice, started out as a whisper, turned into a scream, made a beautiful noise, shoulder to shoulder marching in the street. When you're all alone, it's a quiet breeze, but when you band together, it's choir of thunder and rain. Now we have a choice, 'cause I have a voice. I'm not living to die. Don't stand in a wasteland, look at me in the eye. Stop living a lie and stand up next to me. You gotta put one foot in front of another with a hand in a hand, holding on to each other. Go on and rejoice, 'cause you have a voice. It is loud, it is clear, it's stronger than your fear. It's believing you belong, it's for calling out the wrong. From the silence of my sister to the violence of my brother, we can rage against the river, feel the pain of another. We can heal. Can you hear me? Can you hear us now? I have a voice. Started out as a whisper, turned into a scream, made a beautiful noise. Shoulder to shoulder, standing in the street. When you're all alone, it's a quiet breeze, but when you stand together, it's a choir of thunder and rain. Now we have a choice, 'cause I have a voice. We have a choice, 'cause I have a voice.
We will now hear from our first friends of New Jersey and New York.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Katie Sastre. I'm the Executive Director of First Friends of New Jersey and New York. We're an organization since 1997. We provided supportive services for people who are in immigration detention. There are currently plans to maybe double or triple the number of people in immigration detention under our current administration. Plans that are incredibly dangerous. And I just want to name plans that will primarily impact Black and brown people. Our immigration system is completely entangled with our criminal legal system in this country. So our detention centers and deportation proceedings, in those places, you will disproportionately find Black and brown immigrants. Folks like to think of immigration as a Latinx issue. It affects all of us, and we have to remember that the people who are going to be targeted by this administration are some of the most marginalized folks amongst us, and it's going to take everybody, allies included, to stand up and make sure that that doesn't happen. But to speak directly from his firsthand experience about what immigration detention is like, is one of really a central member of our community, Ernest Francois, our board member of First Friends, and somebody who has taught me what activism and solidarity really looks like, especially when you are not in a position of power, and the sacrifice that that takes. So please help me welcome Ernest Francois.
Good morning, everyone. Just going to speak on real quick some of the things that I experienced while I was being detained in ICE. I was detained from 2017 through 2021. So while I was in ICE, it was a surprise to me because I came here in America in the early 80s, and so I never really dealt with ICE, so I didn't know what it stand for, what it meant. And so once they came and picked me up, and so I'm like, what am I here for? I didn't, I have all my papers. I shouldn't be here in ICE. And so that's when they break it down to me. And, I began to understand a little bit while I was there. So some of the worst things that I experienced in ICE, for me, it wasn't so much what was being done to me. It was so much what I was seeing was being done to other people. Like a lot of young guys who, some of them was not even 18, and they were with guys who was, my age, older guys. So once I was in ICE, the first year, okay, I said I'm gonna be there for a year, 2, 3, 4. I'm like, well, may never be going home. I don't know. So while I was there, I began to protest because being that I found out I was not gonna go home, so I began to protest because at that point I felt like, well, if I'm not going home, that means in whatever country they pick so many different countries to send me to, but each one of those countries says that they have no knowledge of who I am. Even the country where I was supposed to be born at, which is Haiti, Haiti said, nah, he wasn't born here. And so that's why they said I was in ICE for 4 years. So, but at that point I asked them, I'm like, well, if every country you pick does not want to accept me, then what do you want me to do? Stay here? Like, they said, well, you have to stay here eventually until some country accepts you. It so happened no country accepted me, but they still did not want to release me. And so what I began to do, I began to protest. And the protest was simple things like not eating, a peaceful protest. Because once you're in ICE, you can't physically fight them. You won't win that way. So once I found out what really, what they really pay attention to, which was not eating, especially when I would go for about 3 weeks and a half without not eating food. I didn't think I could do it, but I drank water throughout the whole day to make sure that I could deal with it. But I'm gonna say after like 3 weeks, I don't know if it was because from not eating, I was seeing things or hearing things at that point. But I would pray a lot. And then I would see just faces that I'd never seen in my whole life before would tell me that, look, you're going home. You have to eat. You're going home. But obviously, I was not gonna eat because once again, I really felt like they was trying to kill me. Especially the first time I went to the hole. It was right here in Newark, in New Jersey. Then I started protesting, obviously. Then because I was protesting, they transferred me over to Bergen County. Then I began to still protest again. And then from there, they put me in a plane. They flew me to Florida. And when I got to Florida, I'm doing the same thing. But remind you, every time I protest, I couldn't go home, but at least 9 or 10 people will go home because those people was not supposed to be in ICE in the first place. When ICE come, I said, well, we didn't know you was here. Yeah, you knew they was there. So they, start releasing people. And then when I got to Florida, Florida was the worst. I mean, when they would put me in a hole, they would take everybody out because they felt as though I was sort of like an OG. I would get into people's head and tell people that this is what you have to do to get out of ICE. They didn't like that, so they always trying to keep everybody separate from me. So when I got to Florida, they took everybody out of the hole and they put me there. But I would still keep protesting. They said, well, if you keep protesting, we have something for you. They ended up turning off the lights. So for 3 weeks and a half, I really couldn't see because it was dark in a hole, so I couldn't see anything. But one thing that kept me going though was First Friends. First Friends, she just spoke up. First Friends is a great organization. The people that doesn't know me from anywhere, these people actually care for me. They go to the extreme to make sure that I was okay while I was in ICE. They literally called the facility that I was in because at that point, me be protesting so much, ICE was started, kind of like wanted me to disappear. And so I think once I spoke to First Friend, let them know what was being taking place, what was being done to me, First Friend would literally call Florida to make sure that I was still alive. But what makes me keep going is the fact that I saw what was being done to a woman. I don't know. I forgot what country she came from, but when I was in my hole, I was able to just peek to the little tiny hole, and I was able to see how they was literally grabbing her. Some COs had officers, the guards. One had the arm, one had the legs, and they was pulling. And I was screaming, kicking. I'm like, bro, you can't do that. That is a woman. You cannot put your hands on a woman like that. Obviously, that didn't sit right with me. So when I came out of lockup, I went harder. Now I'm talking to everybody. I told them what I saw, so that the whole facility went to, was not eating. And of course, at that point, I'm the first guy that came in. They put me in chain, legs, feet, chain over my neck, and once again, they put me in the plane, and fly me all over the place again. So obviously, that's when I always prayed and strongly believe in God. But at that point, that's when I really started praying a lot. Just asking God what's going on, what's happening in my life, why is this happening to me? Because I've made some mistake in my life, but I was not a bad kid. Well, to me, I wasn't. Maybe I was just somebody. That's how I found myself in ICE. And so those guys who's there today, I'm sure, most of them or some of them are going through the same thing that I went through. I just want to tell everybody, I think ICE, they call it immigrations or whatever. It's just a name they use. They pick or whatever they're trying to do. They're just trying to find a way to make slavery legal again, because that's what I was in there. I was a slave for 4 years, where times I work. Police officers come and got me from my bunk where I was, took me the whole building, clean, cook, do whatever I could, but yet I never got paid. But getting paid was the last thing on my mind. It's just the physical and the mental abuse that I was experiencing in there, which I clearly remember in Bergen County. 17 cops jumped on me for apparently no reason, really, simply because I didn't want to eat. It wasn't because I farted or disrespect anyone. Just didn't want to eat anymore. Consider what I was seeing being done to other detainees, especially the women's. I got 2 daughters and 2 sisters, so my mom, that didn't sit right with me. So that's why today, no matter how old it is, whenever I speak of this thing, trust me, I'm a grown man. I don't want to cry, but water always finds ways in my eyes. So
Come on.
Yeah. So just want to say thanks, because those times that I went through, the people that it came out to speak to me, which I didn't recognize, and I wasn't sure whether I was going crazy because I didn't eat for about a month or so. They tell me that I was going home. Every time I get down on my knee, open my arm, and pray to God, he always sent someone to speak to me. So I surely believe in God. He's always with me, regardless of where I go. So thank you.
I just got to be in order. Y'all got, it's just, thank you for your story. I heard it this morning, and to hear it again, it's not easy to lose those things. I'm going to say this to you if you don't mind. My grandmother would remind me of Matthew 17. She would easily say this scripture to me. She'd say, some things happen because you fast and pray. You probably didn't want to fast, but you didn't know your enemy. And you did not know what to do other than to find prayer and a posture of prayer. Thank you for bringing yourself home. Thank you. At this moment, at this time, the offering will be greatly received. Please, by all means.
We're going to sing a song by Sean Staples. It's called Joy Comes Back. And I know that not everyone is in a state where you feel like there's going to be joy right now. But I am a great believer in rehearsing. Not just with the choir or with Vicki, but rehearsing hope and optimism so that I'm ready for when it comes back. So it starts like this. I wanna be ready. I wanna be ready. I wanna be ready when joy comes back to me. So I invite you to rise in any way possible. And we'll keep on coming back to that refrain. I wanna be ready. I wanna be ready. I wanna be ready when joy comes back to me. I've been so downhearted. I've been so downhearted. I've been so downhearted, but I won't be down for long. I wanna be ready. I wanna be ready. I wanna be ready when joy comes back to me. I've been too long crying. Too long crying. Too long crying. But I won't cry anymore. I wanna be ready. I wanna be ready. I wanna be ready when joy comes back to me. I've been surrounded by midnight. I've been surrounded by midnight. I've been surrounded by midnight, but it won't be dark for long. I wanna be ready. I wanna be ready. I wanna be ready when joy comes back to me. My spirit got low, yeah. My spirit got low, yeah. My spirit got low, yeah. But I'm gonna rise again. I wanna be ready. I wanna be ready. I wanna be ready when joy comes back to me. I wanna be ready. I wanna be ready. I wanna be ready when joy comes back to me.
You know, I'd like to just take a moment, if you will, just today is such a beautiful day, but not only today, the month is about to be very beautiful. I just want to take a moment to wish everybody in this room happy Black History. Happy Black History, Beacon. Happy Black Future. Happy Black Presence. Happy all of the things that are beautifully, wonderfully, proudly Black. I don't mean to probably sound too boisterous, but I can't help but to be that way this month. Given what I've seen in the past few days, I need to be a little bit excited about being in the world the way that I am. That's important. I don't only celebrate it for the black people in the room, but for those also folk who have been impacted and who have experienced the existence of black folk and how they have made change for us to be better and come together. I want to also honor those people who came under the legalities of the one-drop rule. That if you had one bit of black blood, you were officially black, okay? While others maybe were 1/16 or maybe less Native American, it was fine to be culturally erased and be called white. Oh, America. I have to start with this work, and I want to tell you the title of this piece is this work today is called Piece by Piece, and I want to lay out that every moment of this sermonic discussion today is that you will have with yourself is going to be piece by piece. You will probably feel like you were in a theological class for a few minutes, so bear with me. Okay, I want to be clear that if you haven't read it before, Dr. James Cone, the father of Black liberation theology, allows for us to step into the world with a new understanding of what God or who God may be. And Cone asserts in that present moment that God is black. And probably I am more inclined today for us to examine, if you will, or search deeply ourselves for our own sense of solidarity. I am very interested in maybe you engaging a sense of your social contingencies and your cross-cultural irony and what it means to be in the presence of difference. If you aren't familiar with Black liberation theology that was written in the 60s, you're probably maybe familiar with a Latin theologian by the name of Gustavo Gutierrez. And his liberation text to the Catholic Church. If you don't understand those texts, then you probably wouldn't understand the importance of womanist theology written by Dolores Williams, and you probably wouldn't get to the framework of rainbow theology with Patrick Chen, and probably explore the frameworks of body liberation for trans and non-binary folk if you have not yet read even Dr. Robin Henderson Espinoza. There are so many more to talk about. So many different liberations. Liberation theology, I identify deeply with it not only as someone who went to school and studied with great theologians, but as someone who actually is a liberationist by very virtue of embodying the very essence of theory. I love to embody theory. I am dangerously a theoretical body that honestly some folk have to reconcile with because they don't know what to do. It's that essence of liberation that allows for my diversity and my need to be in spaces to make a difference and also remain different. As we know, this diversity now lately has been threatened piece by piece. We have built it piece by piece, but it's slowly being dismantled. We're seeing it with every stroke of a pen. We've heard about every kind of pause regarding activities and events. And I'm sure many of you try to, if you will, bring comfort to the situation. I know my family. I know how we do. We want to immediately say, you're welcomed here. You want to say, I have a friend who is, I've been there before. I traveled there for vacation. I actually trained myself to cook this in this way. I learned the language, and it took me. And though we offer the gestures out of generosity and politeness to find something that would allow for someone to lean into and away from the harm, we in some way cannot offer them the very essence of care and affirmation that they really need when they are sitting with the political devices that are feeling like they are being dismembered daily. Daily being dismembered. So I had to go back and think about the fact that this is what we're dealing with, and I had to go back to think about my advisor at the time, who was a South Korean theologian and liberationist and ecofeminist, Tara Chung. Dr. Tara Chung, in 1991 at the World Council of Churches, begins to speak, and she says, if they ask me, am I a syncretist? I say you are right. I am a syncretist, but so are you. My response, as she continues, is that I know I am a syncretist, but you don't know that you're a syncretist because you have hegemonic power. Hegemonic power. Non-Christian cultures, when they try to interpret the gospel, the Bible, outside of their own lived experience, are syncretists. Now, if you know anything about theologians, not folk who just go to seminary and then decide to be ministers. Theologians, ones who challenge ministry. I will tell you this, good theology does not always birth healthy ministry. Frankly, it could be radically dangerous and risky and politically in upheaval. I want to just run. I promise you. But it's because the theologian is actually interested in helping people seek out meaning. I take that definition from Dr. James Cone, that to find meaning in our lives is what the theologian is often trying to do. And so I had to sit with Dr. Tara Chung, and I had to listen closely because she says this furthermore. I think in order to really heal the world, we need the wisdom of darkness. This can be a third world, dark people, women, or our shadows. All things we don't want to confront within ourselves, so we project them onto others and call them terrorists. We project them onto others and call them terrorists. So I think we need, she continues, endarkenment. Endarkenment. Not enlightenment to heal the world, but endarkenment. And I can guarantee you, if you have not listened to her ever before, Dr. Katie Cannon would assert the same frameworks and offer the same advice, and she would say it with this kind of voice, and she would say, no one is free until the woman of the darkest hue, the lowest caste, and the poorest class, and the distant worlds are free. Not one of you are free. I want to usher to you the idea of piece by piece. Piece by piece. We are not looking at other people's lives just to obtain meaning in this space. I want to speak not to the theologians in the room right now, or anybody that's just kind of like, I just want to do the best I can. I know I got some folk like that. There's nothing wrong with it. But I want to push on us a little further today to get from the meaning to the matter. I'm going to lean into my humanistic characteristics, because if you really get to the framework of what matters, you get to the molecular structure of the human existence and why it is able to evolve and adapt with flexibility and intelligibility in order for it to survive and thrive in a world that is not made for it. Right? I'm looking to help people get to a place that talks about matter from a space of existence and experience, where the human life is so valuable that you wouldn't want to turn away from it. That when we do say that we honor the worth and dignity and the inheritance of everybody, we actually have a framework of matter, not meaning. I am not a symbol or a representation. I am a human being. I live and I move and I have my existence by being authentic. And that is what makes me dangerous. It is there, and we wonder why. We wonder why Agent Orange is upset. Baby, I got this yellow on to go ahead and challenge that orange. Right? Why? What is it? He has the hegemonic audacity, or in other words, a supersession application. Yes, a hijack theology. He is hijacking identities and cultures in his current administration by a certain patriotic claims, calling what, as I got the memo yesterday, National Black History Month. It's National Black History Month for those who follow Agent Orange. The misrepresentation of black figures in his statement yesterday as I read it was also interesting because he chose figures, historical black figures, that were identified within the time that they existed as Republicans. Frederick Douglass, Harriet Tubman. Now, we all know that they were fighting for freedom. We know that Lincoln was a Republican. We know that. I'm not a dummy. But I do know for a matter of fact that if I look at the fact that he uses this as a guise to declare black patriotism, it is clear to me that he is willing to do whatever it takes to get people to see a disillusion. Can I just be frank for a few minutes? That this country, right, like I'm all, y'all like, Jay, you're already there. Can I be frank though? This country have half-assed on every humanizing policy possible. It has half-assed on every humanizing policy from those Native Americans who were living and dwelling in this space before us, for the enslaved who were brought to this country, to the tortures of the Asian Pacific Islanders, and even for some of your very own ancestors who you can't even remember or recollect or where they are from, because we have all engaged with a psycho-political violence, not to benefit the United States of amnesia, but to actually be enlisted into the United States of amnesia. This is not America. This is amnesia. I forgot. When I get here, I forgot who I am. When I come here, I shouldn't speak like I know what I'm talking about. I'm supposed to fit a narrative, a social identity, a particular identity. Beacon, if we aren't careful, we will actually live into the fear of fascism and the horrors of a hegemonic power that calls us to turn on each other. We will end up using intellectual properties to preserve our privilege and our powers. And while we are in this temporary political 4-year experience, we will slowly try to make adaptations for foolishness. I got to keep it real. I've used some words that would probably help us gaze at what we might be dealing with. Maybe our identity is already being hijacked. Maybe it is a supersessionism applied to this. That means that you are being hijacked or replaced by a hegemonic social power. That means that you are recognizable. I often tell people it's really hard to place me as the queer person. You will not find me probably in the letters. Don't try. I'm not politically queer. Queerness is illegible. It's always been. It's hard to understand it. There's a glory in that. There's a holiness about it. It should actually prompt you to be holy and curious. Not judge it, but discern. Maybe it's not the supersession. Maybe you're not replaced. We can go there. Maybe you are experiencing a syncretism, but a syncretism in the way that maybe my ancestors had to go about it when they came off of the boat in 1690, where they had to hide their African-based practices and deities and rituals and veil them with Catholic and Christian iconography. So when I talk about Shango from the Yoruba tradition, we all are looking at St. Barbara. When I begin to talk about Christ, we are really talking about Elegua. And as long as my ancestors kept their bodies still and didn't move, they wouldn't get their hands chopped off. If they didn't make any noise, they wouldn't have had their tongues filleted. Syncretism was the hiding practice. Maybe we are trying to hide from the politic that we are seeing if we are not being replaced. Or better yet, we are still furthermore engaging in assimilation. And we know that too well. Every person in this space has experienced some form of assimilation applied to their body. It is what we see as a theology that affects the identity and the tradition, and it has to be a justified practice that allows for you to be examined and interpreted through the lens of the social majority. The social majority will say to you that there are only two genders. Can I just be, the devil is a liar. Look, I miss Mother Julia. That's what she said the other day. Get the hints behind me. I was like, come on, Mother, you better come on. But that kind of assimilation and rhetoric is dangerous for people filled with possibility, for people like ourselves engaged in a framework that says, I am willing to evolve and expand. Let me ask you a few questions, Beacon. Y'all know I love a good question. When do we get to define the humanity of our faith? When do we get to break out from the prisons of social definitions? Have you ever had the ability to name yourself? To name yourself. I mean, own your name. The power in your name. The strength and the impact of your name. That when somebody says your name, they already know what's coming into the room. Have you ever had the opportunity to recollect the wisdom of the soul that the ancient Egyptians would call anamnesis? Maybe we need to just have a moment. Take a deep breath, Beacon. What does it mean for you to name yourself and call yourself into being? What does it mean for you to step into not just your dignity or your integrity, but your authenticity? What does it mean for you to rattle the walls with the audacity to be fully human yourself? Rachel had shared earlier the excerpt from Lovecraft Country, where Hippolyta is in the room with these extraterrestrial beings with afros. She understands, it says that Hippolyta is beginning to understand her surroundings, and she realizes this is a place of possibility. This is a place of possibility. Did you catch that? This is a place of possibility, and she doesn't quite understand the power that she's about to wield. And she's nudged. Who do you want to be? Who do you want to be? Pressured, the text says, she comes up quickly with an idea of freedom she can muster in the moment. Let me help you in looking at this. Pressured. Pressure are executive signatures. Pressures are watching ICE raid homes. Pressure is watching rights and privileges stripped away. Pressure is violence against queer and trans folk. Pressure is happening. Pressure. We are seeing the pressure on our very beloved diversity. We are seeing the pressure of all of the things that shape our humanity. I want to switch over because I brought this little device. We are probably all familiar with these. We know this here. It's Legos, of course. And when we spend time building them, they can come in all shapes and sizes and things. I actually had the wonderful opportunity to get some more Legos for us today because I thought to myself, we are experiencing so much pressure, and I want to name that because we are experiencing pressure, the diversity is breaking. We've been building, but we are breaking. Breaking, have no words to say to each other all the time, trying to understand policies and why they are breaking, trying to understand why our rights are being taken away, trying to make sense of our humanity, breaking in a system that was not built all the time for the very people we love and know. The foundation is weak. Foundation is weak. But can I remind you something about Legos? They are pieces. And piece by piece, I'm sure some of you have had the experience of a Lego that when you step on a Lego, I'm glad I got good arches. Whew. What happens is, no matter how much pressure I apply, the Lego does not break. The one piece does not break. The impact of a Lego individually is just as strong as when you built it. Piece by piece, individuals like yourself help others obtain their liberation. Do you hear me? Yeah. That if I step on this one, it hurts like hell. Why? Because it knows its form. It knows its makeup. It knows that it matters. And so it's letting me know its impact and its strength. No matter how much pressure I put on it, it won't break. Sometimes it's not the foundation. It's the value. I promise we won't have Pentecost. Sometimes it just goes through me like that, but I can't help but to look at the very fabric of what we have before us. So I said, look, Beacon, this is what we're going to do. I want to reintroduce the text to you really fast. It says that Hippolyta was pressured. And as a result of the pressure, it says that she had began to she came up with a quick idea to obtain freedom. Look, we've seen enough pressure this week, but can I apply some healthy pressure for you? Can you just think about with me? Can you just usher in with me by knowing your value and your authenticity and what you bring into this space? What is the very makeup of the peace you bring? I know when I come to Beacon, I know when I come in Summit, that the very thing that I bring is Black queer joy. Piece by piece. I want to invite you, if you will, just for a moment. I'm going to lower this down here, and I'm going to allow for you to grab some pieces. If you want to grab a piece from the floor just because they're strong, I want you to apply them. My face is too big. That's why my mother had a C-section, y'all. I know she just hurt me too. I want you to, for a moment, to take the pressure today and name it for yourself. And come apply it up here. Name what it is for you, if you will. I just want to encourage you to do that for me. Own it. You can come on up and grab a piece and plop it into. That's right. Come on. There you go. The pressure's on. What's the name of that piece?
Rebel trying to find her cause.
Come on, a rebel trying to find her cause. This piece is like teamwork. I love it. What's the name of that piece?
Fear.
Fear. Come on. Feel free to name them so I can hear them.
Chutzpah with a heart.
Come on.
Yep.
You got it.
Anger.
Come on, anger.
Invisibility.
Visibility.
Stubborn.
Come on and be righteously stubborn. We got it.
Strength and diversity.
Strength and diversity. Come on. Yes, yes.
Autistic joy.
Autistic joy. Yes. Neurodivergency. Thank you.
Radical love.
Radical love.
Mercy.
Mercy. If you're in the balcony, I will wait for you. I love you when I see you. Don't think you are ignored. What's that?
Truth.
Come on, truth.
What is this? This piece is Mama Bear.
Come on, Mama Bear. We going.
Immigrant solidarity.
Immigrant solidarity.
Forgiveness and healing.
Forgiveness and healing.
If I can get on there.
You on there? You on there? You belong there. Come on.
Unapologetic that when Black people are free, all people will be.
When Black people are free, all people are free. Unapologetic about it. There we go. I got you, sis.
I failed at this part in school.
That's okay.
She's a disruptor.
Come on, disruptor.
Deep belief in goodness.
Deep belief in goodness.
Oops.
Go ahead.
What was that?
All right.
Kind.
Kindness. Thank you, sir. This is how we build a better world.
Fierce wisdom.
Fierce wisdom.
discomfort into speaking up.
Discomfort into speaking up.
Empathy throughout familial ignorance.
Empathy throughout familiar ignorance. My.
Commitment.
Commitment. Come on, find the strength off of the ones that thrive on the floor.
That's what's called evolution.
Evolution.
Tolerance of mental health disabilities.
Tolerance of mental health and disabilities. I got you.
But I need also
Mm-hmm.
the help of strangers.
Help of strangers, yes. Got you. I'm good. There we go.
To endure.
To endure. Ashe.
Compassion.
Compassion. Mm-hmm. There you go. Ashe.
Presence.
Presence.
Understanding other.
Understanding others. All right, we're good. We're good. It is not going. Look, this is a different foundation. It's not going to fall apart. We're in the right space. I like this better than the last design. The last design had 4 walls. Y'all have created various walls. They don't all go the same direction, but they are strong and mighty. Each piece, significant in their own way, brings something great to the table. And I want to remind us today, Beacon, that no matter what we see with the strike of a pen, no matter how difficult it may be, we can afford to keep building, piece by piece. We should know all the time, individually, our impact, even when we are not together. We should know that we, no matter what giants we face, no matter how much pressure they apply, we got some impact, we've got some sharpness, we've got some angles, and we are connected, and we have the ability to connect to others. Do me a favor, make sure that you build with somebody, and at the same time as you're building, always be sure to name yourself and the strength of your might. Thank you.
All right, so we're going to sing Lean on Me, and that's in the Teal hymnal as 1021. But I will say that the way it is written out in the hymnal is not the way that you know it from the recording by Bill Withers. So if you want to look at the words, you can, but it might just be better to sing along and sing what you know. Joelle is here to help me sing. Thank you so much. I just want to say, quick announcement. There is a concert this afternoon. It's completely sold out. I mean, there's not a single ticket to be had. So just know that you can always come to the next concert. But for today, we ask that after the song and benediction, Jay will lead us out because we're going to turn the room into a concert hall in 10 minutes. Okay, great. Here we go. Sometimes in our lives, we all have pain, we all have sorrow, but if we are wise, we know that there's always tomorrow. Lean on me when you're not strong. your needs that you won't let show. You just call on me, brother, when you need a friend. We all need somebody to lean on. I just might have a problem that you'll understand. We all need somebody to lean on. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. You just call on me, brother, when you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. I just might have a problem that you'll understand. We all need somebody to lean on. If there is a load you have to bear that you can't carry, I'm right up the road. I'll share your load if you just call me, call me, call me, call me, call me.
Grab somebody next to you or near you. And please know that we are better together, stronger together. We are wiser together, but we got to stick together. And no matter when we're separated and when we leave this place, you still make impact. You are still connected to somebody else's liberation. Do not remain silent. Resist, resist, resist. Go out in the world and love yourself in the process called life. Ashe.
Boss lady, what do we got to do?